Hi, and thank you for watching our short demo today. The plan for this session is to show how DocuWare can help housing associations manage property documents and improve compliance for gas safety certificates. Now, as you can see, DocuWare is a web-based application, so you can use this on any device and from any location as long as you have an internet connection. There's also a mobile app, so you can access all the features and functionality from your phone or tablet. So if I just give a quick tour of the web interface, so we have document trays, and this is where you will initially capture documents before storing them. In the search option, we can click on the different search tabs and search for different documents using index values or even the content of documents. You can also click on the looking arrows and choose options from a search list and find the information very quickly. We also have lists, so these are just saved searches and you can create these yourself or you can create them as an administrator for everyone else to view. Tasks are things that you have to do, whether it's approving something, rejecting something, adding some information, updating a document, that kind of thing. We have folders, so this is just a way to browse the information that you already have, and forms. And these can be public or private and can be a great way for tenants to communicate with you or maybe contractors uploading documents, that kind of thing. So we start off with capturing some documents. So from the web browser, we could import some files from a network directory. So we have a couple of documents here that we could import. You could also scan them from a scanner. If you have a dedicated email account, maybe we can watch that particular email. So I've got a document here. If I move that over to the housing and property folder, we can see that here. And DocuWare will automatically capture all of the documents in that folder and move them over to the housing document tray ready for storage. There is also an Outlook plugin. So if you're receiving emails ad hoc and you want to store maybe the email itself or the actual file, you can create different store dialogues so we can store it straight away, or we can just move it to the tray. Now, everything you see has been configured just to kind of show some of the functionality. You can have this created however you want to, with whatever index values you want to capture and whatever kind of plugins you need for your process. So if I start off with simple storage and retrieval, we can see here we've received a letter about one of our tenants. So I'm just going to go ahead and store this document, and I can select the store option and choose the document type. You might have a property reference number and you could add that in here. We can select the date. So you probably notice I don't have to type all of this information. I can just kind of point and click and DocuWare will capture the information for me. Each of these index fields can be used for something. So if it's something that needs to be reviewed, we can set a pending date. Let's say it's an electrical inspection, we can put in the inspection date. And maybe if it's a termination document for a tenant, we can put in the termination date here. That's all okay. We can go ahead and store that. Now, each piece of information you store can be used to trigger something else, whether it's a workflow to monitor documents that are due on a certain time, or whether it's times that contractors are assigned, when works have been completed, that kind of thing, so you can track and monitor everything that's happening to those documents. So let's say a tenant phones in and they have a quick query on one of the documents about their property. So we could have a look and let's say it's a fault claim and it's for a particular address. So we can choose the address here and click on search. And with a couple of clicks, we can get straight to that document. We can see the form they filled out, any supporting documentation, and we can also have a look at the history of that document. If the tenant was asking for a copy, we could quite easily go ahead and email that to them or save it and then print it off and post it if we had to. If the tenant has actually sent you an email, we can use something called highlight search. So if I go to the email from Albert, and these are just things that I've set up. So you can create a hotkey combination, and I'm just going to go Control, Shift, and T to run a tenant search. And it just means from whatever application you're using, whether it's a spreadsheet or from an email or even from a website, as long as you can see it, you can run a search on it. So again, within a couple of clicks, I can find the document. I can take a look at that document. And like we did earlier, I can have a look at the history. So if Albert's asking about his fault claim, I can see, okay, well, we only received it today and it's with Damien to assign a contractor. So it just means that very quickly I can answer a query from one of our tenants. Here we have some lists, so I can see maybe some documents that are due on a particular time and some new fault claims. But again, these saved searches are just an easy way to keep an eye on documents as they're moving through the organization. Now, if we go to folders, so with folders, this is just a way of structuring the information you have using index values. So if I wanted to have a look at all of the documents by address, we can have a look at each of the addresses and we can have a look at Albert's documents. So we can go into Albert and there's his fault claim. You can also structure this information maybe by document type. So we can very quickly and easily see each of the different, maybe we want to have a look at gas safety records, and we can see we've got one here for this particular address, and we can go ahead and take a look at that. You might also want to keep a track on what properties your tenants have been in. So I've got a list here, housing and property by tenant, and if I take a look at each of these tenants, I could see each of the properties that they've stayed in. We can also keep a track of current and past tenants. Again, it's just an index value. So for instance, if you received a letter to terminate a tenancy, we could automatically update all of those documents for that particular tenant. So we can have a look at our current tenants, and we can also have a look at our past tenants. And we can do all of this from our mobile as well. So let's say we're going out and visiting Albert and he wants to ask a question about maybe his fault claim, or maybe you want to review some of the documents about Albert's property. We could choose the details, find the files, and have a look at that information. So it just means it's really easy and convenient if you're kind of visiting your clients or tenants, or maybe inspecting properties, or if maybe you're just not in the office. Now, the next thing I was going to show was gas safety certificates. And if we're storing documents, we can monitor them. So we can monitor things like due dates. We can automatically check all of the documents in the file cabinet to see if they're due, say, in the next 7 days, 30 days. And it just means that it's much easier to keep on top of renewing those documents and maintaining your compliance. So for this, we're going to start off with one of the forms. So if we grab the gas safety record form, and this could be maybe a contractor has popped out to have a look at the property, maybe do an inspection of the appliances. The contractor could say, okay, I inspected the property on the 21st of July, and it's going to be due for review if I make it next week, so that we can kind of trigger that alert. And this was at 1 Abbey Road. And this is for John. We could upload a copy of the gas safety certificate that we filled out. So I'm just using a sample for the demo. And we could sign to say that we've done it and click on submit. So now the contractor has uploaded the gas safety certificate. We now have to just double check the details are correct. So we can see a new task has popped up for check the details. We can have a look at the supporting certificate, make sure the address is correct and the tenant details and the due date is correct, and then we can just click on confirm. So after confirming the information is correct and the review date, DocuWare will run a check in the background, have a look at those documents that are coming up that are due. We can see that we now have 2 on our list, and we also have 2 tasks. So this is just a really good way for DocuWare to kind of do that work for you, keeping an eye on those documents and making sure that you can maintain your compliance by having up-to-date information. So here's a copy of the old document, and in my task, I've got 2 options. So I could reject it or update the record. So let's say I'm going to update it. What I need to do is get a copy of the new document. So I'm just going to go to clip, and we can see here's the new gas safety certificate, and we can just drag that onto the existing document. We can reorder them, but I want the new certificate to be at the front. Click on clip, and then we can set a new review date, and let's say that's going to be valid for a year. Click on confirm, and then that leaves my tasks. So just a very short demo today to show a couple of the functionality within DocuWare, how to create a simple storage retrieval digital archive so that you can access your documents very quickly, and also maybe browse through them using the folder functionality, and also monitoring documents and their due dates to help with compliance. On the next session, we are going to look into how DocuWare can help manage fault claims, speed up the process of assigning a contractor, completing repairs, and how you can monitor the times taken to resolve those issues. So look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.